Billionaire chases girl who stole his wallet. The fluorescent lights hummed in the small administrative office at Philadelphia County Hospital. On the monitor, security footage played in a loop showing a young woman in scrubs picking up a wallet from a waiting room chair, glancing around nervously, then walking away quickly. The timestamp read Thursday, 2:47 p.m. Marcus Ashford stood with his arms crossed, his expensive suit crisp despite the late hour, his expression a mixture of anger and disbelief. Across from him, 28-year-old Amara Williams stood with her shoulders back, chin raised, tears running silently down her cheeks. Between them sat Dr. Patricia Hayes, the hospital's chief administrator, her expression troubled. Marcus pointed at the screen and said that's her, clear as day. He wanted her prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Theft, fraud, whatever charges apply. Dr. Hayes suggested they should hear what she has to say before involving the police. Marcus asked what's there to say, the video doesn't lie. She stole his wallet while he was there visiting one of his sick employees. She violated his trust and broke the law. Amara said nothing, just stood there with tears streaming down her face, not bothering to wipe them away. Her silence seemed to infuriate Marcus even more. He asked if she wasn't even going to deny it, not going to make up some story. Amara responded quietly that no sir, she did it. She took his wallet. She took the cash inside. She tried to use his credit card before he cancelled it. Marcus said then we're done here and told Dr. Hayes to call the police. Amara said she doesn't expect him to understand, but she'd do it again. The room fell silent. Marcus stared at her, stunned by her defiance. Dr. Hayes leaned forward, suddenly more interested and asked Amara what she meant. Amara said she meant exactly what she said. If she had to go back to yesterday, knowing everything she knows now, she'd still take that wallet. She'd still take the money. Because the alternative was unthinkable. Marcus shouted that the alternative to stealing is called being honest. Amara replied that the alternative to stealing was watching her brother die. So no, Mr. Ashford, she's not sorry she took his wallet. She's only sorry it wasn't enough. Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time since entering the office, he seemed uncertain. Amara said before he calls the police, let her show him something. Just 5 minutes. That's all she's asking. 5 minutes to show him why she did what she did. Then he can arrest her, prosecute her, destroy her life. She won't fight it. But at least he'll know the truth. Dr. Hayes looked at Marcus, who stood there struggling with indecision. Finally, he nodded curtly and said 5 minutes, then he's calling the police. Amara said follow me. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe to Black Tales Everyday. Also, tell us in the comments where are you watching from? Detroit, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Chicago, or Houston? We want to know. This is the story of a woman who committed a crime for the most desperate reason imaginable, and a billionaire whose life changed when he discovered the truth. It's about the impossible choices we face when love collides with survival, and the grace that can emerge when we truly see each other's pain. So settle in and get comfortable, because what you're about to hear will touch your heart and restore your faith in human compassion. 6 weeks earlier, life was different for Amara Williams. Every morning at 5:30, she'd wake up in her small 2-bedroom apartment in West Philadelphia, make coffee, and check on her younger brother Jordan before heading to her shift at the county hospital. At 19, Jordan was everything to her. Her baby brother, her best friend, her reason for working double shifts and sacrificing her own dreams. Their parents had died 5 years ago in a car accident, leaving 23-year-old Amara to raise 15-year-old Jordan alone. It hadn't been easy. She'd worked as a nurse while he finished high school, then helped him get into community college to study engineering. Every penny she earned went toward their modest life. Rent, groceries, Jordan's tuition, and the small pleasures that made life worth living. Their apartment wasn't much, but it was home. The living room held a worn sofa they'd inherited from their parents, a small television, and dozens of framed photos chronicling their family's history. On the mantel sat their parents' wedding photo, and every night before bed, Amara would touch it gently and whisper a prayer of gratitude for the time they'd had together. One morning over breakfast, Jordan told his sister he got an A on his structures exam. His professor said his bridge design was the best in the class. Amara told him she was so proud, that Mama and Daddy would be bursting right now. Jordan said he couldn't have done it without her working herself to death to pay for it. Amara told him not to say that, he's worth every extra shift, every tired day, and that he's going to build something amazing someday. Jordan said he would. He was going to build affordable housing in neighborhoods like theirs. Places where families can actually afford to live with dignity. Jordan had big dreams and the talent to achieve them. He'd already been approached by 2 engineering firms about internships. His professors called him brilliant. His future was bright, a beacon of hope that made all of Amara's sacrifices worthwhile. Every Sunday, they attended New Hope Baptist Church, where they'd been members since childhood. Amara sang in the choir, her voice soaring on gospel hymns that filled the sanctuary with hope. Jordan helped with the youth ministry, mentoring younger kids from the neighborhood. After service, they'd join the church family for dinner, long tables loaded with fried chicken, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and cornbread that tasted like home. Pastor Williams often said that Amara was one of the strongest women he knew, raising her brother alone while working full-time and never missing a Sunday service. She'd just smile and say that God provided what they needed when they needed it. Their nightly routine never changed. Dinner together at their small kitchen table, Jordan studying while Amara caught up on medical journals, then prayers before bed. Amara would always end with the same words her mother had taught her. "Lord, watch over us tonight. Give us strength for tomorrow. Help us to be the light in someone's darkness. Amen." Jordan would respond, "Amen, sis." Life was simple. Life was hopeful. Life was good. Jordan was thriving, Amara was proud, and their future looked brighter than it had in years. But then, on October 15th, everything changed in a single moment. The call came during Amara's shift at the hospital. Jordan's roommate, voice panicked and high-pitched, said Jordan had collapsed during class. By the time Amara reached the emergency room, her brother was already surrounded by doctors, his body convulsing, machines beeping urgently. The diagnosis came 3 hours later. A rare autoimmune disorder attacking his organs. The doctor's words blurred together as Amara tried to process them. Treatable. Specialized medication. Immediate intervention required. Prognosis good with proper treatment. Dr. Martinez told Miss Williams he wouldn't sugarcoat this. Her brother needs weekly infusions of a specialized medication. It's expensive, but his insurance should cover most of it. They'll start treatment immediately. For 2 weeks, Jordan received his medication. The transformation was remarkable. His color returned, his strength rebuilt, his smile came back. Amara thought the worst was over. She'd been wrong. 3 weeks into treatment, the insurance company denied coverage. The letter was clinical and cold. Experimental treatment, not approved for this specific condition, appeal in progress, estimated timeline 30 to 45 days. Amara immediately called the insurance company, spent 4 hours on hold being transferred between departments, explaining and re-explaining Jordan's situation. Every representative said the same thing. Appeal in progress, please be patient, we understand your frustration. Dr. Martinez told Miss Williams he was sorry, but without insurance approval, the hospital can't continue providing the medication. Each dose costs $8,500. Amara asked $8,500 per dose. Dr. Martinez confirmed yes, and he needs it weekly to survive. Amara asked how long can he go without it. The doctor said a week, maybe 2. After that, his organs will start failing. He was truly sorry. Amara's savings account held $2,300, money she'd been saving for Jordan's textbooks next semester. It wasn't even enough for 1 dose. She immediately started calling everyone she knew, explaining the situation, asking for help. The church took up a special collection that Sunday. $900, given with love and prayers by people who had little themselves. Her co-workers at the hospital started a GoFundMe page that raised $1,200 in 10 days. Her aunt in Baltimore sent $500. A former professor of Jordan's contributed $300. By Thursday, November 2nd, Amara had scraped together $4,400. She needed $8,500. She was $4,100 short, and Jordan's next dose was due Friday. Without it, the doctor said, organ failure would begin. Thursday morning, Amara sat in Dr. Martinez's office one more time, begging for options. She asked if there had to be something, a payment plan, a charity program, anything. Dr. Martinez said he'd checked everything. The manufacturer has a compassion program, but the waiting list is 6 months long. There's a clinical trial, but it's full. Hospital charity care requires a 3-month application process. He was sorry, Miss Williams. He'd exhausted every option he could think of. Amara asked, so she's supposed to just let him die? Watch her baby brother die because she can't afford to save him. The doctor mentioned the insurance appeal might come through. Amara said he told her 30 to 45 days. Jordan has 24 hours. The doctor had no answer. Neither did anyone else. Amara walked through the hospital that afternoon in a daze, her mind racing through impossible calculations. She couldn't work enough shifts to earn $4,100 by tomorrow. She couldn't borrow it because her credit was maxed from Jordan's tuition. She couldn't steal it. Except she could. And by Thursday afternoon, with 20 hours until Jordan's deadline, she realized she would. Thursday night, Amara didn't sleep. She knelt in the hospital chapel for hours, praying for a miracle, for an answer, for anything other than the decision forming in her mind. But God was silent, and the clock kept ticking. By Thursday afternoon, Amara had made her choice. She would find someone wealthy at the hospital, someone who wouldn't miss the money, and she would take what she needed. Just enough to save Jordan. She'd figure out how to live with herself later. Right now, survival was all that mattered. Marcus Ashford came to the hospital Thursday afternoon to visit Thomas Chen, one of his company's security guards who'd been injured on the job. Marcus prided himself on visiting injured employees personally, making sure they had everything they needed. He was on the phone with his office when he set his wallet down on the waiting room chair beside him. Amara walked past, saw the wallet, saw the expensive suit, saw her opportunity. Her hands shook as she picked it up, glancing around to make sure no one was watching. Her heart pounded so loud she was sure everyone could hear it. She walked quickly to the nearest bathroom, locked herself in a stall, and opened the wallet with trembling fingers. $1,200 in cash. Multiple credit cards. A driver's license showing Marcus Ashford, with an address in one of Philadelphia's wealthiest neighborhoods. Amara whispered to herself, "Please forgive me, please." She took the cash, stuffed it in her scrubs pocket, and stared at the credit cards. With $1,200, she now had $5,600 total. She still needed $2,900 more. One credit card transaction. Just one. Then she'd leave the wallet somewhere it would be found. As she reached for a credit card, someone knocked on the bathroom door. Hospital security called out that they need everyone to exit the bathroom please. There's been a reported theft. Panic seized her. Amara shoved the wallet into her pocket, flushed the toilet for appearance, and walked out trying to look calm. The security guard barely glanced at her as she passed. She went straight to the pharmacy across the street from the hospital. Amara told the pharmacist she needs to make a payment toward a patient account for Jordan Williams. The pharmacist asked how much. Amara said $2,900. She handed over the credit card with shaking hands. The pharmacist swiped it. The machine beeped. Declined. Transaction denied. The pharmacist asked if she had another card. Amara's vision blurred with tears. Marcus had already cancelled his cards. She'd been too slow. She handed over the $1,200 in cash instead, bringing Jordan's fund to $5,600. Still $2,900 short. Still not enough to save him. Friday morning, hospital security called Amara into the administrator's office. Marcus Ashford was already there, his expression cold and furious. Dr. Hayes sat between them, looking uncomfortable. That's when they showed her the security footage. That's when Marcus demanded her arrest. That's when Amara realized her desperate gamble had failed completely. She'd committed a crime, Jordan still didn't have his medication, and now she was going to jail. Amara told them if they wanted to know why she did it, come with her. Marcus followed reluctantly, his anger still simmering but now mixed with curiosity. Dr. Hayes walked beside them. They took the elevator to the third floor, walked down a long corridor past rooms filled with sick patients, and stopped outside room 347. Amara said, "This is my brother Jordan. He's 19 years old. And he's dying because I couldn't afford to save him." She pushed open the door. Inside, Jordan lay in the hospital bed, pale and weak, 4 lines running into his arms, monitors beeping steadily. He looked impossibly young and impossibly fragile. When he saw Amara with strangers, confusion crossed his face. Jordan asked what's going on. Amara said, "Jordan, this is Mr. Ashford and Dr. Hayes. They need to understand some things." Marcus stepped into the room slowly, his eyes taking in the medical equipment, the charts on the wall, the young man who looked nothing like the criminal he'd expected. Jordan asked, "Understand what?" Amara said, "The truth, baby brother. The whole truth." Amara pulled out a folder she'd kept by Jordan's bedside, thick with paperwork that documented their nightmare. She spread it across the rolling table methodically, creating a timeline of evidence that told the story better than words ever could. She explained that October 15th was the day Jordan collapsed. This is his diagnosis from Dr. Martinez. Rare autoimmune disorder. Treatable with weekly medication infusions. Insurance initially approved coverage. She showed Marcus the first set of medical records. He took them, reading carefully. Dr. Hayes pulled up Jordan's file on the room's computer, confirming everything Amara said. Amara continued that October 24th, 9 days into treatment, Jordan was responding well. Then this came. She handed over the insurance denial letter. Marcus read it twice, his brow furrowing. Marcus asked if they're calling the treatment experimental. Dr. Hayes explained it's not experimental, it's FDA approved for similar conditions. But this specific diagnosis isn't explicitly listed in the approval, so insurance companies use that loophole to deny coverage. Amara said she spent hours on the phone, days. They said the appeal would take 30 to 45 days. Jordan doesn't have 30 to 45 days. He has hours. She pulled out more documents. The medication cost breakdown from the pharmacy showing $8,500 per dose. The church collection envelopes totaling $900. The GoFundMe page printout showing $1,200 raised. The personal checks from family and friends. Amara said she tried everything legal. She begged. She fundraised. She prayed. She exhausted every single option. By Thursday, she had $4,400. She needed $8,500. Jordan's dose was due Friday. Without it, his organs start failing. Jordan asked his sister what did she do. Amara turned to her brother, tears streaming down her face. She said she saw Mr. Ashford's wallet. She took it. She took the $1,200 cash inside. She tried to use the credit card for the remaining $2,900, but it was already cancelled. So she stole from a good man, and it still wasn't enough to save him. Jordan stared at his sister in horror and said no, Amara, no. Not for him. Never for him. Amara asked who else would she do it for. He's her baby brother. She raised him. She's sacrificed everything for his future. She's not going to watch him die when she could do something. Jordan said but not like this. Amara said then tell her what she should have done. Tell her the legal option she missed. Tell her how she was supposed to save him. Jordan had no answer. Neither did anyone else in the room. Marcus stood holding the stack of documents, his expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke and asked Dr. Hayes if all of this is accurate. Dr. Hayes confirmed every word. She'd been Jordan's attending administrator. She'd watched Amara exhaust every option. The system failed this family, Mr. Ashford. Completely and totally failed them. Marcus pulled out his phone and made a call. He said this is Marcus Ashford, he needs to speak with Patricia Cunningham immediately. Yes, he knows she's in a meeting. Tell her it's an emergency. He'll wait. Everyone watched as Marcus paced the small room, phone to his ear. After a moment, someone answered. Marcus said Patricia, it's Marcus. He's at Philadelphia County Hospital. He needs her to approve an emergency medical funding exception. Patient name is Jordan Williams. Yes, he knows the board policies. He's invoking his founder's privilege. The full amount needed is approximately $220,000 for 6 months of treatment while insurance appeal processes. Wire the money to the hospital within the hour. Thank you. He hung up and looked at Amara, who stood frozen in shock. Amara said she doesn't understand. Marcus said neither does he yet, but they're going to figure it out. Within 45 minutes, the hospital's billing department confirmed receipt of funds. Dr. Martinez was paged, medication was prepared, and Jordan received his dose with 30 minutes to spare before the critical deadline. Amara sat beside her brother's bed, holding his hand, watching the medication drip into his veins, unable to believe what had just happened. Marcus stood by the window, looking out at the city below, processing his own actions. Jordan asked Mr. Ashford why would he do this for them. He doesn't know them. Marcus turned from the window, and for the first time, his expression softened. He said he had a younger brother too. Daniel. He died when he was 20 years old. Car accident. Marcus was across the country building his first business, too busy to visit, too focused on making money to realize what mattered. Daniel died before Marcus could say goodbye. He pulled out his phone, showed them a photo of a young man with Marcus's smile. He said he built his fortune partly in Daniel's memory. And here he is, about to prosecute a woman for trying to save her brother when he couldn't save his. What kind of man would that make him? Amara said she was so sorry for his loss. Marcus said he was sorry for hers too. Her parents, and almost Jordan. He sat down across from Amara, his earlier anger completely gone. He said what she did was still wrong. She knows that, right? Amara said yes sir, she knows. Marcus said she broke the law. She violated trust. Those actions have consequences. Amara said she understands. She'll accept whatever punishment he decides. Marcus said here's what's going to happen. She's going to pay him back. $1. Amara asked $1. Marcus explained she stole $1,200 in cash. That was theft. But everything else, the medical expenses, that's his choice to give. $1 makes her accountable without destroying her life. Because her brother deserves to live, and she deserves to not be defined by her worst moment. Monday morning, Marcus invited Amara to his office in downtown Philadelphia. The building was sleek glass and steel, the kind of place she'd never imagined entering. His office overlooked the city, artwork on the walls worth more than her annual salary. Marcus said he'd been thinking about what happened. About the system that put her in that position. About how many other families faced the same impossible choice. Amara said Mr. Ashford, she can never repay what he's done. Marcus said actually, she can. He's starting a new foundation. The Jordan Williams Emergency Medical Fund. It'll help families caught in insurance gaps, people who fall through the cracks while bureaucracy grinds slowly forward. He showed her the paperwork, already drawn up by his lawyers. He explained he's funding it with $5 million initially. It'll cover emergency medication costs while insurance appeals process. No family should have to choose between crime and watching their loved ones die. Amara asked if he's naming it after Jordan. Marcus said her love for her brother showed him a blind spot in their healthcare system. Her desperate act revealed a gap he never saw from his comfortable life. If this fund saves even one family from her choice, it'll be worth every penny. Amara started crying, overwhelmed by the magnitude of his response to her crime. Marcus said there is one condition though. Amara said anything. Marcus said she lets him help Jordan through his full recovery. No more desperate acts. No more stealing. When she needs help, she asks for it. Deal? Amara said deal. She pulled $1 from her purse and handed it to him. Marcus took it solemnly, then placed it in a frame on his desk. He said it's his reminder that real wealth isn't measured in money, but in the lives we touch and the grace we extend. 2 weeks later, Marcus held a press conference announcing the Jordan Williams Emergency Medical Fund. Amara stood beside him, nervous but proud. Jordan, already looking healthier, sat in a wheelchair nearby, still weak but improving daily. The story went viral. The nurse who stole to save her brother. The billionaire who chose grace over prosecution. The foundation born from a desperate act. Within a month, 50 families had applied for help. Within 6 months, the fund had assisted 200 families, covering over $3 million in emergency medical costs while insurance appeals processed. 18 months later, Jordan graduated from engineering school with honors. His health fully restored, his insurance appeal long since approved, he'd thrown himself into his studies with renewed purpose. At graduation, Marcus sat beside Amara, both of them cheering as Jordan walked across the stage. Jordan said during his speech that he wanted to thank 2 people who saved his life in different ways. His sister Amara, who loved him enough to sacrifice everything, even her own freedom. And Marcus Ashford, who showed him that grace and second chances are real. After the ceremony, the 3 of them went to visit Amara and Jordan's parents' graves. It had become a tradition, sharing important moments with the family that couldn't be there. Amara said, "Mama, Daddy, we're okay. More than okay. Your son graduated. Your daughter found her way back from the edge. And we found family in the most unexpected place." Marcus stood quietly beside them, no longer a stranger but a friend, a mentor, a reminder that humanity's capacity for compassion can transform even the darkest moments into light. 6 months after graduation, Jordan started work on his first major project. An affordable housing development in West Philadelphia, funded partly by Marcus's foundation and partly by community investment. The first building was named Ashford Williams Community Center, honoring the unlikely partnership that began with a stolen wallet and ended with redemption. Amara continued nursing, but now she also volunteered with the Jordan Williams Emergency Medical Fund, helping other desperate families navigate the system that had nearly destroyed hers. She understood their fear, their desperation, their impossible choices. And she could offer them what she'd never had. Hope and help before they reached the breaking point. Marcus kept the framed dollar bill on his desk, a constant reminder of the day his comfortable worldview shattered and reformed into something more compassionate. He visited Jordan's construction sites regularly, mentored young entrepreneurs from disadvantaged neighborhoods, and transformed his wealth from a measure of success into a tool for grace. 2 years after that desperate Thursday afternoon, the Jordan Williams Emergency Medical Fund celebrated its 2nd anniversary. The celebration was held at the Ashford Williams Community Center, the building now complete and serving as a hub for affordable housing, medical services, and community support. Amara spoke to the crowd of families they'd helped, her voice strong and clear. She said 2 years ago, she committed a crime. She stole from a good man because she couldn't watch her brother die. She was desperate, terrified, and out of options. What she did was wrong. But it led to something right. It revealed a gap in their system, a failure in their safety net, and it sparked a change that's helped hundreds of families avoid her impossible choice. Marcus stood beside her, adding his perspective. He said 2 years ago, he almost prosecuted a woman for loving her brother too much. He almost let his anger blind him to her humanity. Instead, he learned that before we judge someone's worst moment, we need to understand their circumstances. That grace is more powerful than punishment. And that sometimes our comfortable lives need to be disrupted to see the truth. Jordan, now healthy and thriving, spoke last. He said 2 years ago, his sister saved his life by risking everything. A stranger saved both their lives by choosing compassion over justice. Today, we honor that choice by extending the same grace to others. No family should face the choice his sister faced. No one should have to choose between crime and survival. The crowd applauded, families who'd been helped mingling with volunteers and donors, all connected by the thread of human compassion that began with one desperate act and one gracious response. That's the story of Amara Williams and Marcus Ashford. It reminds us that before we judge someone's actions, we should understand their circumstances. That desperation can drive good people to impossible choices. That mercy is more powerful than punishment. And that sometimes, what looks like theft is actually love wearing desperation as a disguise. This story teaches us that we're all one crisis away from our own impossible moment. That grace and understanding can transform tragedy into triumph. That wealth means nothing if we can't see the suffering around us. And that sometimes, our worst moments reveal the best in others. If this story touched you today, share it with someone who needs to remember that grace exists, that understanding matters, and that second chances are real. Share it with someone fighting their own battle, someone who feels alone in their desperation, someone who needs to know that help can come from the most unexpected places. Like this video, subscribe to Black Tales every day, and let us know in the comments, what would you have done in Amara's situation? Have you ever faced an impossible choice between what's right and what's necessary? How do we build a system where no one has to make that choice? Thank you for watching, friends. Until next time, may you always have the compassion to understand before you judge, the grace to forgive what seems unforgivable, and the courage to help even when it's uncomfortable. God bless.